Saya cukup senang ya lihat antusiasme orang-orang udah mulai melek soal digital companies, soal startups, dan mereka pengen jadi bagian dari perubahan Indonesia menuju Indonesia 4.0. Menurut saya ini antusiasme yang bagus sehingga kita bisa lihat talent-talent muda, bibit baru yang mungkin bisa jadi next unicorn Indonesia.
Sekarang gue melihat contohnya di eksibitor-eksibitor yang ada di AMIGO Summit hari ini mulai beda-beda, mulai berani untuk bikin something yang biasanya startup di Indonesia nggak bikin. Contohnya di project management system dan lain-lain, itu hal-hal yang menurutku di luar kebiasaan. Gue berharap memang hal ini terjadi secepatnya di Indonesia supaya keberagaman startup itu makin luas dan kita makin banyak opsi untuk melihat calon unicorn itu tidak didominasi oleh satu sektor-sektor khusus, tapi ada sektor-sektor lain.
So for the past few years, we've seen a lot of startups come up in Indonesia, and I think the corporates are kind of lacking behind. So I think it's really good that Telkom starts a movement around innovation and creating corporate startups, which I think Indonesia needs. A lot of the innovation that is happening right now in Indonesia has started already 5 or 10 years ago. So I think relatively Indonesia is behind, but it's catching up. So I think that especially with the startups like Traveloka and Tokopedia and Gojek, they kind of show the way of how to innovate, how to create a digital ecosystem. So I mean, the startup ecosystem is quite rich, but I also think a lot of companies or startups are doing the same thing. So you see that somebody starts in, let's say, peer-to-peer lending, and then suddenly there's like 10 or 20 startups trying to do the same thing. So I think the challenge is what's the next big thing, right? We have to see what's happening in the US or in Europe and then try to capture that innovation and do it in Indonesia. And it's ideally coming also from the big corporates.
I think there's a lot definitely that we can learn to improve, and we don't have that many unicorns actually or big startups that are successful in the global stage. In the global market, people only hear about Gojek or Tokopedia, but there's a lot more that's not being seen. And so I think one way that Indonesian startups can improve is to look more into consumer trends and be more consumer-centric, understand what the global consumer wants and needs are to be able to launch innovations that will compete globally, not just in the Indonesia region.